Shortly after 11 o'clock, I'm James Spann back in the Weather Center. It's going to be a long night tonight. I'm here with Charles Daniel. We have Brian Peters out in the field. We'll get through this night together, but you can see we have a line of severe storms approaching the Alabama-Mississippi border. And when I go to the watch warning map, Charles, we've got a tornado watch in effect now for a pretty good chunk of North and West Alabama. The tornado watch is in effect for our part of the state until 3 a.m. There's a tornado watch for Southwest Alabama until 5 a.m. Over in Mississippi, we had a very dangerous thunderstorm that crossed through Oktibbeha County, Mississippi, and there was great concern for the campus of Mississippi State University in Starkville. The good news is that we can tell you that there is no damage on the immediate campus. Now, there is some damage to the east of the campus. We've had reports of trees down at Aspen Heights. That's a large housing complex off campus, east of Starkville, east of the campus. And again, the extent of the damage there is not known at this point. There is debris on Blackjack Road, which is southeast of Starkville, and vehicles are in the ditch on US 82 east of Starkville. It seems like the tornado came right in through here, just east of the Mississippi State campus. But again, a note from State, they say the crisis action team is assessing possible impacts, but initial assessments, they have no injuries, no visible structural damage, and no significant impacts on normal campus operations. So for the immediate campus, the news is good, but they had quite a scare there about 30 or 45 minutes ago. We have a severe thunderstorm warning now for parts of Lowndes County, but the good news, there are no tornado warnings in effect over here in the northeastern part of Mississippi in the Golden Triangle. We have the one severe thunderstorm warning. We do have a tornado warning down to the south for a thunderstorm. Charles, just down here in your country down here.
Yeah, that's Lauderdale County.
You are Elvis, the Elvis of Meridian.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. That's Lauderdale County coming out of Clark County. Includes Meridian. You've got the 2059 split right there. You head down towards New Orleans or you headed over towards Jackson, Mississippi, but this is going to be the most populated city right there. But we had some word of some trees down in that area a little while ago. That tornado warning, though, does, I want to point out, come straight up to the state line, including the folks here in Sumter County. So if you live right along, I would say, I-20 or 2059, if you're Livingston, Cuba, make sure you've got your ears on. You're paying close attention to what's coming with this storm as it may cross over the state line, probably within the next 30 minutes or so, if that. So we'll see how that's carried over. There's a severe thunderstorm warning already for Choctaw County, Alabama. That includes Butler. And folks, just pay attention to what's going on. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, and a few notes here also that the gradient winds, not related to storms, but the pressure gradient winds out ahead of this have really ramped up in the western part of the state. Just so a note, high winds are present on the campus of the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. The report was the vehicle is kind of rocking back and forth when stopped. And again, this is pressure gradient winds. We'll see winds of 25, 30, maybe gusting to 35 miles an hour, not related to storms out of the south.
I've got 24 on the camera down here so far.
Yeah, in fact, let's take that Skycam in Tuscaloosa if we can, Charles.
Yeah, 24 in the gusts so far, 42. James, right. That's new.
That is a 1 minute average, 24 miles per hour. So the winds are gusting now as high as 42. And again, this is the Skycam that's on top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse overlooking, this is the Hugh Thomas Bridge. Northport sits over here. The Warrior River sits right in through here. And again, notice they're sitting at 76 degrees. That's a pretty balmy
That's pretty good for an evening temperature.
Yeah, I mean, again, you walk outside tonight and it's got that feel. If you've lived here for a long time in March or April and it's 76 degrees at 11 o'clock at night, you know that the pump is primed for maybe some rough weather. And again, all of the dynamics are coming into play for some severe storms. So again, pressure gradient winds are really ramping up on the western side of the state. That's, again, 24. That is an average. And the peak gust is 42. So let's go back to radar and just want to try and give you a few things here to think about. Number one, I know a lot of folks are tired. Maybe it's been a busy day. You've been at the ballpark all day. You've had kids out. You've had things to do. Or maybe you're just tired and you're ready to go to bed, even if you didn't have a busy day. The one thing we want you to be able to do is hear warnings in the middle of the night. This is obviously going to be a late night, overnight type event. So everybody, first off, you know the baseline, that's a weather radio, a NOAA weather radio that is independent of the cell network. If the cell network goes down, weather radio still works. Every Alabama. Home, business, church, everybody needs one. And preferably you have one. And if you don't, the other option, of course, it's this. Most people have phones, and all phones sold in the United States, these smartphones, have wireless emergency alerts enabled. And the problem is some people learn how to get in there and turn them off because they might not like the Amber Alerts. But let me encourage you to go into your notification setting and be sure emergency alerts are on. If nothing else with that, you'll get tornado warnings and flash flood warnings. And those WIA alerts are very loud and they will wake you up. So that is the second alternative you have to a NOAA weather radio. We prefer for you to have both. It's very important to have two ways of receiving warnings in case one way fails. Any of these methods can fail, of course. So that's the first thing to think about, because if we have a tornado warning at 3, 4 o'clock a.m., middle of the night, pre-dawn hours, it is very hard for us to reach a lot of you. And a lot of folks don't even know there's a threat of bad weather tonight. We've learned that. Some people are tuned into weather, they're locked in, they know, but a lot of people are not. And again, we're not faulting them, it's just the way it is. But everybody needs to be able to receive the warnings. And then, of course, the next thing, if you get a warning, what do? Know where you're going, know where your safe place is in your house, and in that safe place have helmets for everybody, including adults. We like for people to have a little portable air horn. Those things cost, I want to say $9, $8, $9 at the dollar store. It would alert first responders that you need help if you take a hit. And then hard-sole shoes, so the cheap work shoes you can find at big box retailers. That's the things we're stressing. And if you live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, you have to get out. And you have a very different set of circumstances, and what you do depends on the availability of shelters nearby or businesses that are open 24 hours a day. You have to make that decision for yourself and in terms of how you handle that, but you can't be in a mobile home, a manufactured home during a tornado warning. And this is the stuff you need to think about on a sunny day, not on a night like tonight. But just be sure everybody thinks about that, and we'll get through the night just fine. This is April in Alabama. This is the core of the tornado season. This stuff happens on a regular basis. This is very much what we expect this time of the year. Charles got a new tornado warning, I see.
Well, we got a tornado warning
nasty?
in Washington and Choctaw County in Alabama. That's our first Alabama warning. But I wanted to take a look at this thing.
Man,
it's right on top of the radar. Look at that
Wow.
swirl there. That is intense.
Ooh, goodness gracious.
The velocity
so
signature on that is just off the charts.
Yeah, so this is Monroe County, Mississippi. And again, that is a very, very well distinct hook echo here, a tornado signature. This is Lamar County, Alabama. That's Alabama Highway 17, Vernon here, Sulligent here. And again, most likely this will be crossing over into Lamar, northern Lamar, maybe parts of western Marion County. So understand, if you are in northwest Alabama's Lamar or Marion counties, there's a very dangerous thunderstorm now that's north of Columbus. And again, that's moving up in this direction here. And so warnings could be required for parts of Lamar or Marion counties fairly soon.
Yeah, and for folks that understand, the radar beam here is only about 5, maybe 600 feet up. So we're getting a really good look into the storm here at a very, very low level, the lowest tilt on the radar. So we're getting a very good look at this point from that storm. So just know that what we're seeing here, that's a very good indication. It's just north of the Columbus Air Force Base. That's moving northeast at about 35, 40 miles an hour. So folks in Sulligent, Detroit, you need to be on high alert if the Weather Service carries that one over into Lamar County. So high alert for everybody in Lamar and Marion County as these storms are getting right up to the state line.
And again, let me also mention, as we're kind of getting set for a long night here, you can watch us on your phone in your safe place. All of the ABC 3340 apps will have our live coverage here. And also, if you would like, you can have the STIR app. That's STIRR and News On. But again, just get the 3340 apps and you can watch us on your phone. We're also live on Facebook Live as well. So just some things to think about here as we go forward. And tell you what, if maybe some of you guys in the back can check with news and be sure that we are on Facebook Live, because I don't think we are at the moment, and I would like to go live on that platform. The object of the game here is to be live on as many platforms as possible. So JD, if somebody back there can check with news and be sure that we're live on Facebook. So again, this is where we are now. We have a dangerous thunderstorm right here. over Monroe County, Mississippi. And this is moving to the northeast, and this is Lamar County. This is Marion County in northwest Alabama. And again, this, let's loop this thing, Charles. Let's kind of get a look at the motion here. This is moving.
It's moving north at about, I would say, 45, 50. Is that what it was?
I think,
it's
moving
almost got a northerly component to it.
Northeast.
Yeah.
And that might keep this thing a little west of Lamar County, and it might clip the western part of Marion County. So again, the immediate concern would be still across the state line in Monroe County, Mississippi. So again, this is a dangerous supercell storm that is capable of producing a tornado.
Slow it down. There we go.
Yeah, and again, you can see the hook echo, and that might be a debris ball showing up right in through there. So again, this is a storm that is one to watch. If you're in northern Lamar or western Marion counties, be aware that that storm is going to be very, very close to you.
Yeah, there's definitely a lowered coefficient there.
Yeah, in fact, I'm about to take a look at that over on the other product we have here. And yeah, this is a storm that
it's going to be right there.
Is very dangerous. Yeah, you can see a lowered CC. And look, I think Alabamians are good at this. You know by now, in this particular product, that means debris is being lofted. What the radar is telling us is that this is not a hydrometeor. This is not a raindrop. It's not an ice pellet. It's not a snowflake. It's something being lofted from below. It could be bricks or nails or glass or parts of buildings or tree limbs or large parts of trees. So again, we have what could be a debris ball and what could be a large tornado that is down right here. The conditions tonight do favor the possibility of a few strong tornadoes, and by strong tornado, we define that as EF2 or higher. So again, this is a very dangerous thunderstorm that is currently over Monroe County, Mississippi, only about 10 to 15 miles west of the Alabama-Mississippi state line. This is Lamar County right here. That's Alabama Highway 17. That's that main north-south highway through the far western part of the state. But again, the trajectory, oftentimes they move northeast like this. But in this case, we have a strong, screaming strong south wind, and that's moving this more to the north. In fact, that thing, Charles, is coming right up on that radar. I mean, that...
yeah, that's going to be interesting. It was a few years back it got hit by a tornado a couple of years ago. It took them a while to fix it. It wasn't, maybe it was longer than I remember, but.
Right, we have had a history of radars being hit by tornadoes over the years. In fact, for years and years here in our area, the main radar was down in Bibb County near Brent and Centerville. And that facility was taken out by an EF4 tornado on May 27, 1973. It blew that radome almost halfway to Atlanta, and at the time it was a separate operation. There were men staffing the radar site. They had to take cover in a ditch, so it's not the first time that's happened. And I do believe this one has been hit as well. But again, this is the Columbus Air Force Base NEXRAD site. That is what could be a large, dangerous tornado that is down, moving right up in that direction. More than likely, this stays a little west of Lamar County if you're watching us in Lamar County, but this might clip, just maybe clipping the far western part of Marion County. So we're going to keep an eye on this and understand this will slowly translate into the western part of Alabama in coming hours. And this is going to be a long duration type event. In other words, it's going to be a long night. And so we know a lot of you stay up with us and you pop popcorn and you sit back and you kind of watch this for entertainment, and that's great. We're glad you do that. But we know a lot of folks have things to do tomorrow and they've got to get some sleep. So again, if you're in the process of getting ready to go to bed, just be sure that you've got your wireless emergency alerts enabled on your phone, if nothing else, and preferably a weather radio with a good battery backup that is turned on and properly programmed. And that way, if there's a warning issue, that's going to wake you up. See, the one thing I can't do, Charles and I can't hop out of the TV screen, walk down the hall, and scream at you. Get up!
Right.
We can't do that. But that weather radio will wake you up, and if you turn us on, I promise we're not going anywhere. So, again, we're with you now because we're watching this band of severe storms over the northeastern part of Mississippi, getting so close to the western part of the state of Alabama. And these thunderstorms have had a history of producing tornadoes during the course of the day today. In fact, a few damaging tornadoes over in the state of Mississippi. So that's the situation. We should stress there are no warnings in Alabama on our end of the state. There is down south a tornado warning now for parts of Washington County. And again, this is down in the far southwestern part of the state. This is U.S. Highway 84 right here. I'm sorry, that's Choctaw County. Yeah, this is Choctaw County, all right? So, again, that's Alabama Highway 17. This is Gilberttown right here. And, again, that's a fairly small part of western Choctaw County. Coffeyville here, that's the Alabama River. And this is Monroe County. This is Marengo County up in through here. The town of Butler sits right in through here. So this is basically parts of southern Choctaw County. So again, that is a tornado warning for the southwest part of the state. And that's going to be marching northward. And if that continues, that might affect counties like Sumter as we go along here. Sumter County sits right here. And again, this is Marengo County. And again, these are moving in this direction. And notice number of tornado warnings in effect over in parts of southeastern Mississippi. So again, a tornado warning in effect for Choctaw County down here in southwest Alabama. But where we are up on our end of the state, things are relatively quiet. This is the tornado watch, and again, this is until 3 a.m. This includes Jefferson, Shelby, Blount, Marshall counties, and counties back off to the west, Bibb, Perry, counties back to the west. And this will probably be extended eastward during the night. If you're over here on the eastern side of the state, your threat will be coming later, well after midnight tonight. Storms coming in a little ahead of schedule. We talked about initially the main window being from 1 a.m. until 1 p.m. And it is close on that. It looks like these storms will kind of creep in here around midnight tonight, but I think that's a good sign and that maybe they'll be ending a little sooner than we had talked about tomorrow morning. So I think for a lot of folks, the severe weather threat could be over by maybe 6, 7, 8 o'clock. But if you're in East Alabama, it might be mid to late morning before that happens.
We might lose this radar, James.
Yeah, that's nasty. Wow. If you've ever driven past this thing, you've seen that radome. It looks like a golf ball, a volleyball, sitting on top of a freestanding tower right along Highway 278. And that debris ball is literally coming right up toward this antenna. Goodness gracious. We'll find out in a matter of minutes if this thing takes a direct hit. But if you know anybody across the state line in Monroe County, Mississippi, they need to be sheltered. Now, Aberdeen is not in this tornado warning. And understand, we have not issued warnings by counties for about 12 years. We use small parts of counties because tornadoes are small, counties are big. No need to warn an entire county. And that's where the Respect the Polygon thing came from. But the Polygon does not include the city of Aberdeen, and it does not include the city of Amory, which is right up in through here. But again, that's a possible large tornado that is down coming right up on that radar site. And if you live around there, you know where you are in relation to that radar site, and you need to be sheltered. This is a very, very dangerous thunderstorm. The Weather Service in Jackson, in their last update, they indicate this is an observed tornado. In addition to that, we have the debris ball. We have the correlation coefficient negative, which is obviously debris being lofted. But this is 8 miles northwest of Caledonia, 8 miles east of Aberdeen, moving north at 35 miles an hour. It's moving almost due north. Looks like the signature is not quite as strong as it was, but it's still there. So
I think it's more that it's that close
it's the fact
to
that
the radar.
It's right. Because understand the radar beam is low, and typically you see a lot of the debris that's being lofted 10, maybe 15,000 feet off the ground with this.
Yeah, we're looking at about 400 to 500 feet max.
And our friends up in Memphis, and this county is covered by the Weather Service in Memphis, and I think they're right. They say that this tornado could be in the early stages of occluding. And what happens, that's when it basically chokes itself off and it could cycle and reform again. But the signature not as well defined as what we had about 2 or 3 minutes ago. But still, this is a very dangerous storm and it could come right back. And that's what happened with the storm that came through Oktibbeha County, Mississippi earlier tonight. But again, that is going to come right over that radar site here in just a matter of minutes. So again, this is a tornado warning for Monroe County, Mississippi, and parts of Itawamba County as well until 11:45 tonight. And again, that is a very, very dangerous thunderstorm over there. Yes, just saw one of the guys, the Weather Service in Birmingham, said he's saying some prayers for the GWX radar, which is what this thing is. But more than likely, at least a few minutes ago, that was a very strong tornado that was probably down. But again, we stress for our end of the state, we have no tornado warnings. But again, that's your signature that's right there. That's your couplet coming right up on the radar site. This is Alabama Highway 17. This is Sulligent in Lamar County. Detroit is right here. Of course, this is Marion County right up here. And that thing is coming right up on that radar site. And the parameters are, needless to say, in place for severe weather tonight. Again, you can walk outside, you can feel those high dew points. Dew points are way up in the 60s. Temperatures are really not that far under 80 in spots. In fact, let's look at that Tuscaloosa Skycam again. If we can take that, Charles. We had a wind gust of 42 miles an hour earlier. 42
is the highest wind gust still, but it's still rocking at 17 there.
Right. The 1 minute average is 17 miles per hour. And again, that's 76 degrees with a dew point of 66. Very juicy air that is needed for severe thunderstorm formation overnight tonight. But again, I want to stress, we don't say this stuff to scare anybody. Like I said back when we started, this is what we expect here. This is April in Alabama. This is the core of the tornado season. We have events like this every single year. This is nothing new. This is nothing unusual. And we hope that people aren't anxious about that. People that have lived here for a long time, I think, understand that. And we get the warning. We know where we're going. And we'll get through the night just fine. But there are newcomers that perhaps move here from a place where they don't have tornadoes. And I can understand being a little scary, but again, all you need to do is just be sure you can hear the warnings with a weather radio and a good app on your phone or wireless emergency alerts enabled, and identify that safe place in your house. Small room, like a hall, closet, bathroom, lowest floor, near the center, no windows. And if you live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, you can't stay there. Wonderful affordable housing. It's like cars. Cars are great. Cars get you where you need to go, but you can't stay in a car during a tornado. It's a death trap. And the same thing when the manufactured home or a mobile home. You've got to get out. And what you do depends on your situation. It's not the same for everybody. If you have a shelter on your property, then you're good. But a lot of people don't, and they have to identify the nearest community shelter that's open. And how far away that is, that will greatly depend on what you do. For some people, their comfort level involves going to a shelter when there's a tornado watch. Now, for most people, they don't want to sit in one of those things for 5 or 6 hours, and that's how long watches run. And I think what ultimately needs to happen within the weather enterprise, we need some type of intermediate message between the watch and the warning for those that live in manufactured homes. But again, everybody's different, but you've got to decide what's right for your family. Identify the nearest shelter that's open, even at 3 a.m. on Sunday. And maybe it's a business, like a truck stop, a 24-hour-a-day truck stop, or some type of business. Just go into some site-built structure. Wow.
They're lining up now.
Woo, boy, that's nasty. It's like trains on a track, and that's a bad train coming. What you're looking at here, these are multiple tornado warning polygons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have one in Alabama. And that whole mass is about to creep over into Sumter, Pickens, Lamar, Marion counties. So if you are near the Mississippi state line, strap in. It's going to be kind of a bumpy ride for the next couple of hours. And again, the individual storms are racing north along that line. The line itself is creeping east, and that will be in the western part of the state fairly soon by midnight tonight. And I would imagine we'll probably have our first tornado warning for our part of the state fairly soon here. So again, we're just going to stay with you, and we're going to be here throughout the night in the early morning hours. I'm optimistic that for the western half of the state, this stuff's going to be long gone by the time church services start tomorrow. It's Palm Sunday. The issue might be that far eastern side of the state. One of the things that, in fact, I was scheduled to be at the Goshen United Methodist Church tomorrow for the 25th anniversary of the killer tornado that hit that church during the morning worship service on Palm Sunday in 1994. It killed 20 people, but that service was canceled, and I can certainly understand that because of the sensitivity. I regret not seeing a lot of my friends there, but they'll reschedule that. But again, the churches on the eastern side of the state, and the truth is for every church, not just for this event, we have these. This happens. You need a weather radio and you need a plan, and a lot of churches don't have one. So ask your pastor, ask your administrative staff at your church, is there a plan? Do we have a way of hearing warnings, and what do we do if there's a warning? How do we get people out of the big sanctuary into halls and bathrooms and safe places? So that's something to think about as well. It is 11:25, and we are now on the Facebook. I'm going to put that over here on my page. One of the things I have to remind people, Charles, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, started to answer questions. How many questions have you answered today?
Just a few. Yeah. Probably not as much as you.
Right. But and again, we are delighted to be able to answer questions, to give individual briefings. But once we get on television, we've got to focus on this. We can reach 250,000 people like that on television. And if you're doing individual briefings, you respond to one person at a time. So we just ask that you watch our coverage instead of asking for individual briefings over on the Tweeter or the Facebag or somewhere. And I promise we'll do our best to answer all of your questions here on the on-air coverage. And we remember, we focus on the storms that are dangerous. We don't try to ignore anybody. But if we're not talking about your town, that's because there's nothing going on there. If there's something going on there, then we'll be talking about it. So again, we have severe storms with the possibility of tornadoes lined up near the Alabama-Mississippi border. And again, those are in the process of creeping over into western Marion, Lamar, Pickens, Sumter. And in terms of the timing, Tuscaloosa, it's going to be after midnight. It's going to be, then again, the line's moving slowly. This is not a line that's accelerating through here. It's going to move pretty slowly. This is modeling here from the RPM model. This is 2 a.m. coming through Tuscaloosa. Birmingham, 4 a.m., maybe even some storms coming in here after that toward 5 a.m.
This is the new HER run.
Okay. This is the HRRR model, and again, you can see East Alabama, this is 6:30, and hopefully we can get this stuff out of here by 8, 9 o'clock. That's 9 o'clock, and it looks like the bulk of the storm should be out of here. So by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, the bulk of the storm should be out of here. But understand, this is 11 o'clock on Saturday night. We're talking about the storms getting out of here 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. This could be a 12-hour deal here. So we're just going to, what are we going to do? Got some coffee pots brewing back there in the back. In the television business, the one thing we've learned to live without is sleep.
Sleep is for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the last time I really got some sleep was in 1973 when I was a junior in high school, and that's when I took a job at a radio station. And I stayed up late, got up early before school, but that's okay. We'll sleep when we're dead. So it's 11:28, and again, if you're just joining us, we are now working a severe weather event that is about to begin in West Alabama that will be slowly progressing eastward through the state overnight tonight. And goodness, Charles, the problems we have with these night events, if you watched us do this during the day, all of our cameras, Brian Peters in the field, all of the people with the streams, John Brown, the video they can bring back, it's just stunning, and it tells a great story, and it's compelling, and we know that that will result in you doing something if you see a tornado on one of our cameras. We can't do that at night. I mean, we try. I mean, we're going to show you a lot of cameras. Brian's out in the field, but you have to wait on lightning to illuminate the storm, and that only happens every so often, and you just can't see much at all. And we're stuck with this. We've learned that for most people, when they see this, they see a bucket of spilled paint. Even if we're saying, boy, we got debris being lofted, there's a velocity couplet, that people still tend not to take action. So I'm just asking you to please listen to carefully what we say about these colors you see on your screen here. And if we ask you to go to a safe place, then you go to a safe place, even if we can't show you a live stream of the tornado on television through one of our cameras or one of our dash cams. So that's the deal. And let's see, Sid, you got Brian back there. Is Brian's stream up, by the way?
If it is, can we get that put in Mon 1 too?
Yeah,
we'd like to see that.
We're in the process of kind of getting our normal arrangement here in the studio. We have, let me tell you what, there's a lot we have to see here. We've got chat sessions from the Weather Service. We have our Skywatcher chat with our Skywatchers that have been trained. We got all the live streams and then the social media, and it's pretty staggering here. But again, let's take Brian's stream full. For those that don't know, Brian, before he joined us, was a longtime morning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Birmingham. And Brian, during his time there, probably trained 10,000 storm spotters, and he's trained a whole lot more since he's been with us. We had our big training last month in Pelham, and Brian is our man out in the field, and Brian is the best. And we appreciate his late night service tonight. And again, that is going to be his stream. Of course, he's in the Birmingham Metro right now, and he's headed back off to the west. He's going to intercept these storms. And let me say this, Charles, this is dangerous business here. I mean, nobody, and I mean nobody should be out here doing this unless you know what you're doing.
It's just too easy to get caught in the wrong position. You get caught in the wrong spot, and then terrible things happen, and we don't want that. And we don't even want you out there trying to even get pictures of these things, even if it's close to your house. You know, please, like James said, do what we ask, get to your safe place. We'll let you know. We'll shout it out saying, give you the all clear. It's just too dangerous. Visibility across the state is very difficult. At night, it's so much more, but you've got hills and trees. And then, of course, the nighttime component of it just makes it so dangerous. So we ask that you don't venture out unless you have to. Brian's very, very well trained. He would never put anybody in harm's way. He knows exactly what he's doing. And unless you've been highly trained to do that, we ask that you don't get out there and try to get us images of this. I want to point this out, though. This is that cell we were watching moving near the Columbus NEXRAD. Now it's actually pulling away from the radar. The radar survived, thank goodness. It's still kicking right now. But notice there's that little, what could be a debris ball right there. Here's that hook that would be coming around, the debris ball right in there. And that's the tornado warning. It's moving north, but it has this slight component of easterly movement to it. So if you're in the western half of Marion County, really extreme west Marion County, maybe even west of Highway 19 there, you need to pay close attention to this one. Still good indications of rotation. Here's that rotation right there, moving in. And then also we have that correlation coefficient, that debris ball signature, that debris being lofted in the air still showing. So there's still a pretty good chance that this is causing some damage and lofting debris. This is still very, very close to the radar, so we get a good image of that, and that's what it looks like there from the Columbus NEXRAD. So the radar site did survive. It looks like that's good news. This has just a slight easterly component to it. If you're in Detroit, you're not in the tornado warning, which is across the state line, but I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't be venturing out anytime soon. Everybody needs to just make sure you stay home, make sure you have a way of getting warnings, and I think we'll get through this together tonight.
We will. That's what we do. Again, I got a report from Ken Horst. Ken is with the University of Alabama Emergency Management. He says the winds are gusting to 28 on campus. Again, we saw a wind gust of 42 in Tuscaloosa. These are gradient winds.
We're
not
up to
related
47
to
now.
47, wow.
Yeah.
So we now have a wind gust of 47 miles an hour. These are gradient winds in Tuscaloosa. Now, again, our anemometer that recorded the 47 mile per hour wind gust, that's on top of the courthouse. Down below, the wind's probably not that bad, but still, they're going to be shaking and baking here. So very strong south winds developing in advance of that. That's that low-level jet, the nocturnal jet that's several thousand feet off the ground. Sometimes that works its way down to the south. That's a 1 minute average of 25 miles an hour. And again, the winds are gusting up to almost 50. Not related to storms. That is a pressure gradient wind. And again, you can see Tuscaloosa sitting at 76 with a dew point at 66. And again, we're looking north here from the top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. So 11:34. This is James Spann with Charles Daniel. Brian Peters out in the field. And we are watching developments carefully, watching a whole lot of traffic coming in here, and watching chats from the Weather Service in Jackson and Memphis. Memphis actually handles the storms up north. This is the one, Charles, over in near Macon, Mississippi. And again, these are just west of Sumter and Pickens counties. We have a tornado warning here and here. So again, that's
kind of pull it off again. You can see they're just still kind of lined up. It's not as dense as it was.
Right.
But it's still there.
And again, action down to the south as well. So that's the kind of stuff we're expecting here tonight. And again, we don't want people to be anxious. Understand the odds of you being directly hit by a tornado, even on a really big risk day, is fairly low. Tornadoes are small. But you have to pay attention. And the one thing, our goal here, it's to prevent loss of life. That's it. We can rebuild a house, we can rebuild a business, we can rebuild all that stuff. We just got to be sure that you're okay. And these late night events like this are worrisome in that we have a hard time reaching people. Now, if this were 4 o'clock in the afternoon, everybody's watching. Ooh, let's turn on James Spann. You know, we know some of you are watching tonight, a lot of you, but a lot of folks, you know, they're out having a party. Charles, we have no life. You know, we see weather people have no life.
I can't argue with you.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great life, but we don't have any social life outside of this. We have very understanding spouses. That's all I can say. Here's our first warning of the day.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
Right, so this is the first warning for Alabama. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the northwestern corner of Lamar, around Detroit, then curving back up into western parts of Marion County. That's for the storm creeping in from the west. And Hamilton is right here. Technically, downtown Hamilton's not in this polygon. But again, this is not a tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northwestern Lamar and western Marion counties.
Yeah, and they're concerned about the rear flank winds coming around on this thing.
The old RFD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's caused a good bit of damage today. I've watched a lot of the chaser videos. But again, yeah, speaking of that, back to the point we were making, please don't go out tonight. Maybe you've been through basic spotter training once. This is not a good night to go. You really don't chase storms in Alabama that well, and especially at night, they're going to chase you, and you're going to get into trouble. And I'm just saying, nothing good comes out of driving in the middle of the night. And the reason Brian Peters does it, and again, Brian was a former warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Birmingham. He has trained umpteen oodle storm watchers. Speaking of Brian, Brian's on the line with us. Brian, how many spotters have you trained?
I'm worried about this later today.
Hello, Brian. Brian's over there. Hello, Brian. Yo, Brian.
Models is kicking.
I think Brian is
trying to order a pizza for later today.
Yeah, he's got Domino's or Pizza Hut on the line. But we'll get him back on here in just a second. Brian is out with Megan Thomas. We don't like putting individual, and that's another thing about the safety element. We don't like putting, anybody out there by themselves. So Brian and Megan, they're both meteorologists here. They're together in the field tonight. And one can be the communications officer and work the radar, while one is driving. If you're out there by yourself, it's almost impossible to do. So again, we'll get them on the line with us here in just a second. But again, we've got thunderstorms that are possibly tornadic west of the Alabama state line. But there's concern about the RFD, the rear flank downdraft type winds in the back of the storm, producing some damage near the Alabama-Mississippi border. And as we often say, it doesn't really matter if the winds are tornadic or in a straight line. If it's going to blow a tree into your house, you just need to know about that. So understand the winds could be very strong in parts of Lamar and the western part of Marion counties here over the next 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes as the main storms kind of ride the Alabama-Mississippi state line. The storm motion right now, it's more north. There's a little eastward component, but not much, more northerly here. In fact, we'll kind of animate this thing, and you can see the storm motion. These are going to be moving to the north at about 35, 40 miles an hour. And we have had considerable damage in parts of Mississippi. We had a pretty scary situation with a tornado passing just east of Starkville and the campus of Mississippi State University. It's caused some damage, but it did not hit the campus. The campus is fine. We've had other tornadic activities you can see in progress now as well down to the south. But it looks like, Charles...
Is that a tornado warning? Did they just issue
Pickens.
that?
We've got a tornado warning for Pickens, it looks like. So that's our first tornado warning
first
of the day.
one, yep.
We've got a tornado warning for Pickens and Sumter counties. This is for parts of Pickens and Sumter counties, and it looks like this will include a whole lot of Pickens County here. It might not include the far southeastern part near the Sipsey River, but this includes all the major cities in Pickens County down into northern Sumter. In fact, let's look at the southern extent of this thing. So this is basically from about Emel north, the far northern part of Sumter, and most all of Pickens. So this is your first tornado warning of the event for our end of the state of Alabama. So that's Pickens, the far northern part of Sumter. This does not include York or Livingston. This is pretty far north of there. But understand there are other storms that might affect those areas soon. The Weather Service is indicating a tornado 21 miles northwest of Livingston, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So let's take a look at the radar and the velocity displays on this, and we will pinpoint this for you. It is now 11:40, just to get a time reference here. And
one of the problems is these are these supercells embedded within the line, so it's difficult, to pull them out.
You can
really
clearly
pick them
see
out.
that this is on the high-res
There you
radar.
go, yeah.
And again, this is hugging the Alabama-Mississippi state line. That's Alabama Highway 17 right there. This is Emel right here. This is the town of Geiger. and that's your possible tornado between Scuba, Mississippi, and Geiger, Alabama, moving north-northeast. This thing is going to be riding the Alabama-Mississippi state line. But again, that's going to be moving north and ultimately kind of ride along that far and northwestern part of Sumter County. Again, this is well north of York and Livingston, then up into the western part of Pickens County. So again, first tornado warning of the evening here. Kind of back that out just a little bit, and we'll animate this. And it's kind of noisy. This is a point where this thing is a pretty good distance away from the Weather Service radar at Columbus and Birmingham and Jackson. But again, you can clearly see the circulation coming right along, right in through here. And again, that circulation is now between Geiger, Alabama, and Scuba, Mississippi. So let's go back to Max 1. And, all right, again, this is the circulation that the Weather Service is concerned about. And again, that's going to be affecting mainly that western part of Pickens County. So really the greatest danger, it's going to be along and maybe west of Highway 17. So from Reform down to Aliceville and points west. I know that the warning technically does include Gordo here, but certainly based on this northward component of motion, I think the core threat's going to be on that western side of Pickens County. So again, let's put the velocity display back on here. And again, this is your velocity couplet right here. This is Scuba, Mississippi. This is Geiger, Alabama. That's Highway 17. The greatest concern, it's going to be Sumter County, along and west of Highway 17. That's a small part of Sumter County, and the same thing in Pickens County, areas along and west of a line from Aliceville back up to Reform. Aliceville, Carrollton, Reform along Highway 17. Folks over here need to be sheltered for sure, and that is a small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. No manufactured homes, no mobile homes, no cars. And obviously nobody should be driving along Highway 17 right now in the far northwestern part of Sumter County or in Pickens County.
Yeah,
so
we've got a new warning, James, too, for that storm up in Marion County as it's crossing over.
All right, so this is now a tornado warning in effect for the western part of Marion County. This is far western Marion County. The city of Hamilton is right here. Hamilton is not in the tornado warning polygon. The warning is for areas west of Hamilton. So again, if you are west of Hamilton in Marion County, you need to be sheltered. So this is a storm that has produced a tornado in northeastern Mississippi. It is capable of producing a tornado in parts of western Marion County. And again, that's the concern right here. So again, this is a tornado warning in effect for the western part of Marion County. And we're going to have multiple warnings during the night tonight. And the way we do this, we just kind of bounce back and forth between the two so that people have a chance to see all of them. And we're not going to spend time exclusive on this one or the other one here. But yeah, looking at this thing, boy, the signature is pretty interesting coming out of the Columbus Air Force Base radar. In fact, we can take the WEX 05 back behind me. You can see why the Weather Service has issued a warning here. This is the radar site, and again, the circulation is right in through here, and this thing earlier produced what apparently was a large tornado down here south of the radar site, and it occluded. There was an occlusion. It wrapped around itself, and it choked itself off, but now it apparently is cycling back up again. So again, this area of Marion County, especially west of Highway 17, you need to be in a good, safe place till this passes. Let's go back to Max 1, so we have a tornado warning in effect now for the western part of Marion County. This is west of Hamilton. That warning is in effect until 12:30. We have a tornado warning in effect for extreme northwestern Sumter and western Pickens until 12:45. This is the second tornado warning we have here. And again, we're going to see multiple circulations developing within this line. And Charles, for a lot of the linear type thunderstorms, trying to catch tornadoes within these things is like the whack-a-mole game.
I knew it was coming, yep.
Yeah, you hit it and it's gone, you hit it and it's gone, but there could be within this event tonight a few storms that produce tornadoes that are a little longer lasting. Maybe a strong tornado, maybe one that's EF2 or higher. So again, we encourage everybody to take all of these seriously. But again, this was the circulation that prompted the original warning that's located west of Geiger. And again, that's going to be riding right up into western Pickens County. The greatest threat in Pickens County is clearly going to be west of Alabama Highway 17. So if you are in Aliceville, Carrollton, Reform, or anywhere west of there, over toward Pickensville or Coalfire, Ethelsville, you need to be sheltered right now. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. No cars, no mobile homes, no manufactured homes. And there are many community shelters in Pickens County, and we've had very good success stories over the years where people have gotten into them and they were fine because of that. And this is a good night where you want to do that. So let's go back to the storm up in Marion County. We're going to bounce back between this one and our Marion County storm. This is the one that's prompted the warning up here in the western part of Marion County. Let's go to WEX 05. This is going to be another radar look, and again, this gives a much better presentation.
Yeah.
You can see a very dangerous circulation now that is going to be riding right up in through here. And understand the component of motion tonight, it's mainly north. There's not much of an eastward component here. This is mainly due north, so that's the reason Hamilton's not in the polygon here. A lot of times you got these things moving northeast. No. So again, if you're in Hackleburg up here, Hamilton here, this will not affect you. This is for the far, far western part of Marion County. And we can almost say now that this circulation is not really affecting Lamar County down here. It's affecting western Marion County. So again, this tornado warning for Marion County will continue until 12:30 as this thing is moving. The Weather Service has this particular thunderstorm moving at 60 miles per hour. These are screaming along, again, as the low-level jet increases, Charles. And there's no stoplights to stop these suckers.
Yeah, and it's going to be quick, like you said. Some of these are going to bounce up really fast. I think this is one that's been lasting a little bit longer than some of the other ones. But within the cell, within the line itself is creeping eastward. It's creeping this way. But these cells within the line are moving north. Like you said, it's not our typical southwest to northeast transition with these storms. So it's going to take a long time for them to get through. I think something that we've seen, and I want to show you kind of what I'm pointing out. So here's the line right here. The line is moving this way. These storms are moving northward. The problem will be that we see 1 or 2, 3 or 4 over the exact same spots, and we'll see several warnings within that line. The warnings will be north and south, and it's going to take quite some time for this line to cross the state, suggesting that we might be here for 10, 12 hours. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we get these out of here before that, but could be a very, very long night. We're ready to go with that, but you need to make sure you've got a way to get those warnings overnight. If you want, if you're in Coleman or Birmingham or Clanton, Anniston, Gadsden, you can go to bed. If you've got a weather radio, you've got a smartphone app, you can go ahead and go to bed. But if you're in West Alabama, if you're in Tuscaloosa or areas westward, I would say, you know what, maybe you stay up with us for a little while and let these things pass by. But, be prepared. That's the key to everything here. If you're prepared for the storms, if you have a way of getting warnings, if you have a smartphone app that will wake you up in the middle of the night, because James and I can't knock on that TV screen and wake you up, then okay, then you're prepared. You know where your safe place is. You know where you're going to go. As long as you know all of that and you're ready to do that and act, then it's okay. Then go to bed, relax, try to get some sleep if you can. We'll be here if the storm's warnings issued for your area. We'll be here late tonight and early tomorrow morning as it advances eastward.
All right, let's go back to WEX 05 behind me if we can. We're coming up on midnight, and again, this is Max 1. Let's go to WEX 05. Want to focus in on the two circulations. This is the circulation that is in far northwestern Sumter County. It's north of Geiger. That's Alabama Highway 17, Aliceville here, Carrollton here, moving north-northeast. So again, if you're along or west of Highway 17 in Pickens County, you need to be in a safe place right now. So let's go back up to the storm that is in western Marion County, and you can see it's right here. Circulation is in western Marion County, moving north as well. Same thing. The big core problem here, it's going to be the far, far, far western part of Marion County. Hamilton, Ewen, Winfield, Brilliant, Hackleburg, you're not involved in this. This is way west of you. So again, this is a possible tornadic circulation now that is passing along. And by the way, let me just say this too. Nobody should be driving on Interstate 22 between Hamilton and Tupelo right now. You might, and some people, the way it works, a lot of people listen to us on their phones. They're driving and they turn on the audio from our coverage on the phone. If you're listening to us now, you might have to be somewhere in a hurry. Maybe you're driving to Memphis or you're coming back home to Birmingham or someplace like that. Listen, it's not worth it. There are some things in life not worth it. If you're in the path of a tornado driving along an interstate, there's a good chance your car is going to be lofted and you'll be seriously injured, or you could lose your life. There's no, you just don't want to take that risk. So if you're along Interstate 22, you need to stop at Hamilton going toward Tupelo. On the other hand, if you're coming the other way from Tupelo, you need to stop there and let's let this thing pass. Because, again, the circulation is about to cross Interstate 22 right now in the western part of Marion County. Hamilton is not in the Polygon. In the old legacy systems, you might hear some type of warning. We don't warn for entire counties. We use geometric shapes we all know as polygons. You respect the polygon. If you're in it, that's when you do something, and that's the polygon right here for the western part of Marion County. And, again, that circulation still looks pretty intense, and, again, no doubt that we could have a tornado down at this point. In fact, while we've got this up here, we'll check the correlation coefficient product, and that's really noisy. I don't think that's a debris signature at this point. So we'll go back to the velocity display on the radar. And again, let's go back to our storm in Pickens County. And again, you can see this is the reason we have the warning for Pickens County. Now, technically, Gordo and Benevola, you're in the warning, you're in the polygon. And again, we advise you to respect it. If you're in it, you need to do something. But the core threat here will be for areas along and to the west of Highway 17, which is right here. Aliceville here, this is Carrollton, this is Reform up here. And again, that's a possible tornadic circulation in the western part of Pickens County. People in places like Memphis, not Tennessee, but Alabama, Pickensville, Alabama, should be sheltered as this continues moving rapidly northward. These storms are moving at 50, 60 miles an hour. And again, we'll go back up, and that's a pretty nasty looking signature right there, Charles. That's pretty bad. Let's go over to Max 1.
In Marion County, yeah.
And again, you can see it right here, right on the interstate, Interstate 22. So a possible tornadic circulation here. Community of Scottsville sits up here. And again, if you're anywhere near these communities in the northwestern part of Marion County, you got to be in a good, safe place until these things pass. This is a storm that could easily have a tornado down right now. Let's look at the CC on this, and we'll kind of watch this spot right back in through here. And I think it's going to be a lot of noise when we see this. It's noisy right now. So there's no well-defined debris being lofted. But remember, it takes a while for that debris to be lofted, and there could be a tornado down. And that is
that's a good-looking hook, though.
Yeah, that's a very, very nasty signature right there. There's your hook echo, and the possible tornado is right here. Everything we see suggests that there could be a tornado down. And I wouldn't be shocked if in the next couple of volume scans we'll start to see some debris being lofted. So a tornado warning in effect now for the far western part of Marion County, not including the city of Hamilton. This is Alabama Highway 19 right here. The action is going to be all west of 19, and that tornado has crossed over Interstate 22. And we hope that people heeded that warning not to be driving along Interstate 22. That is a major corridor between Birmingham and Memphis. And that's a very dangerous situation. So next up is the community of Scottsville, which is up here in the northwestern part of Marion County. You need to be sheltered. Ultimately, from there, it crosses back over into Franklin County in northwest Alabama. So this is our tornado warning in effect for Marion County. Let's go back down to the south. We're working 2 circulations now in our part of the state. This is the second circulation, and this is the one that is coming up through extreme southern Pickens County right in through here. Again, the possible tornadic circulation will be right here. This is Highway 17. And again, that's going to be riding up the western part of Pickens County. So the greatest concern for Pickens County, it's everybody along and west of Highway 17. So if you're in Aliceville, Carrollton, Reform, I would be sheltered. There's a decent chance the tornado probably is going to stay west of there. But again, if you're in the Polygon, you do something. You respect that. And really, most all of Pickens County is in this one. The only part is that little segment near the Sipsey River down here. So again, tornado warning in effect, especially the highest danger in the western part of Pickens County. Let's go back to our northern storm. We're coming up on midnight as we about to make the transition from Saturday into Sunday. This is the second circulation we're working, and you can see it located right here. And again, Scottsville is right up in through here. That's a very dangerous storm, and that storm is capable of producing a tornado, and we now have a tornado warning for parts of Colbert and Franklin counties for this same storm. The Weather Service has simply extended the warning up into Franklin and Colbert. So if you're watching us to the north, if you're in Franklin County, be aware. In fact, let's look at the polygons for these. So many people are watching online now that the TV market thing it's not as important. This does not include US 43. All right, Phil Campbell is here, Russellville is here. This is your new tornado warning polygon. This includes the city of Red Bay. Red Bay kind of sits on the Alabama-Mississippi state line, but the danger for Colbert, this is Colbert County and this is Franklin. It's going to be well west of US Highway 43. So again, the screaming message here, Russellville, that's the biggest city in Franklin County. You're not involved in this. This is for areas west of Russellville. So again, tornadic circulation right here. That's coming up on Scottsville and Marion County. That'll be crossing the county line into Franklin County. And again, everybody in the western part of Franklin County should be in a safe place right away. That is a very dangerous thunderstorm as this is continuing to move rapidly north-northeast at about 60 miles per hour. So that's one of two dangerous storms we have in progress in the state. Again, you can see the velocity display right here, and again, with every signature we're seeing, it looks more intense. And again, this is clearly ramping up, Charles. This is pretty good signature here.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see something on the correlation coefficient, something that kind of goes along with that, gives us that I guess more confirmation of something happening here, but we haven't seen that yet. Again, we've got Brian and Megan headed in that direction, so if we get them up there not too long from now, maybe they hopefully will get us some information there. If there's damage, they'll let us know. We'll probably find out through social media before that. Yeah, the correlation coefficient is still very noisy in this area. We'd be looking right in here for something to really stick out, maybe a couple of pixels. I think we'll get some more data there coming in, but there's kind of some noisiness going on here just east of the storm itself, so we're not getting a lot, and that's at these areas right in here that we're kind of picking that out. But two warnings for us. The other one is that southern storm we've been following along. Same thing, we're not getting a lot out of the correlation coefficient to the south, but some good rotation there coming into southern Pickens County along Alabama 17, Memphis, Aliceville, Pickensville, Carrollton. You need to be in that safe place. Go ahead and get there now. It's a good time to be there. These storms, even along this line, will produce some damaging straight line winds. And we say it all the time. Doesn't matter if it's a tornado or straight line winds. 80 mile an hour winds is 80 mile an hour winds, and that's going to cause some damage. So it's going to be a long night, folks. Just kind of buckle up with us and hang on. Here's the line itself. The line, the squall line, is moving east fairly slowly. The storms embedded within the line are screaming north at, I think, 60 miles an hour. We saw that in some of these storms. So they're moving very quickly, very little time to react when these warnings are issued. Some of these are going to pop up and then the circulation within one or two scans will die out. It'll be very difficult. Others, like the one we're watching in western parts of Marion County, will actually be a very well-defined signature, stay together for quite some time. The potential is there that some of these storms will be significantly long-track tornadoes. We'll have to pay attention to that. All the parameters are there. A lot of it's like baking a cake. All the ingredients are there, but do they mix up right? Do they all come together? And that's why we're focusing in on this, and we're keeping a close eye through the rest of the night. The tornado watch is through 3 a.m. Remember, these are the areas highlighted in yellow. These automatically populate and show us the tornado warnings. The one for Pickens County until 12:45, 12:30 for the one in Marion County, and then the watch until 3 a.m. If you're in East Alabama, the watch will most likely be expanded overnight to include you and in duration through a little bit later in the morning. So you're not in the clear if you're not in the watch right now. Most likely you will be added at some point a little later on in the evening hours. So everybody needs to make sure you have a way of getting those warnings, a weather radio, a smartphone app. We'll be here. I promise we're going to be here all night. And if a warning is issued in your area, we'll be here on air and we'll be following along with you.
It is 12 midnight now. This is James Spann with Charles Daniel. We're working a severe weather event. Let's take WEXO 5 right behind me very quickly. Check this thing out. Watch the circulation right here.
Wow.
Pretty remarkable. You can see it coming up into west. Watch this thing come right.
Almost just spins off.
Right. It's almost like just for that one moment, it wasn't showing a strong circulation over the radar, and then it just really hit the radar, and then it started to ramp up again. But again, you can see it coming up through the far northwestern part of Marion County, moving very rapidly. And I've heard of no damage reports so far. And again, I stress, for those of you watching, we can't show you a lot at night. This is so hard and that we can't show live streams of these things at night very effectively. So just understand that you're going to have to just take our word for it. But if you are in the northwestern part of Marion County, north of Interstate 22, west of Alabama 19, you need to be sheltered right now because of this storm that is coming up through the western part of Marion County. Hamilton is not involved in this. Winfield, Guin, Brilliant, Hackleburg, no. There's no danger at all where you are for now. This rotation is coming up through the far northwestern part of the county, up around the community of Scottsville. That'll be crossing over into Franklin County in a minute. Franklin County and southwestern Colbert County is under a tornado warning as well. So that's the storm that is coming up through there. Let's take a look at the southern storm. I wanted to show the progression here. You can see this southern circulation right here. And again, that circulation is now, it's going to be pretty close to Aliceville if this continues. Watch the circulation coming up through Pickens County. So obviously the call to action here. Aliceville, you need to be sheltered right now. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Put on a helmet. That's a really important part of your plan. A bicycle helmet. If you have kids, you probably got a bunch of them. If you have kids that play sports, a batting helmet for baseball or softball. And this is not just for kids, this is for adults. Most people that lose their life in tornadoes, they lose their life from blunt force trauma wounds to the skull region by putting on protective headgear. Again, a simple, inexpensive bicycle helmet that really enhances your chance of surviving these if you take a direct hit. And again, that circulation is coming right up on Aliceville, and it seems to be riding up right up Highway 17 up toward Carrollton, which is next, and then Reform, which is next up and through here. Gordo is here. Remember, Gordo, you're in the Polygon. I know we've said all along the greatest danger is going to be over here, but if you're in the Polygon, respect the Polygon and do something about it and go to a safe place. The only part of Pickens County not involved in this is down here near the Sipsey River. So again, this is we have two circulations. This is the southern one here. Let's go back to Max 1 as we have now crossed into Sunday morning. And you can see on the standard reflectivity, it's just noisy. A lot of people, they bring out a phone app and they see these composite images that are low resolution. You can't see anything. You really need the really high resolution stuff to see that. And again, this is the velocity display. And again, you can see it right in through here, coming up pretty close to Aliceville, maybe just west of there. This is a situation where everybody needs to be sheltered in the path of this. And again, in Pickens County, right up Highway 17, Aliceville, Carrollton, Reform. You're in the Polygon. Gordo's in the Polygon. Gordo sits right here. Coalfire, Ethelsville, McShann, Pickensville. But again, that's going to keep on moving to the northeast. Again, there is not much of an eastward component of motion on these storms here tonight. Watching the various chats, and the Weather Service in Birmingham, they have canceled the tornado warning for Sumter. The storm is obviously out of Sumter. It's in effect now exclusively for Pickens County until 12:45. A tornado very close to Aliceville, moving northeast at 45. And again, it's almost on this one, it seems like there's a little more of an eastward component of motion here. Instead of moving due north, it's moving a little more northeast. So again, just everybody in the Polygon. The Polygons account for error in storm track forecasts here. So again, this is almost all of Pickens County, including Gordo, Reform, Carrollton, Aliceville, Pickensville, Ethelsville. Just stay in a good, safe place until this thing passes. So let's go back to our northern storm, the one that's in the far northwestern part of Marion County. The one up here is about to cross over into Franklin County. You can see that circulation is right there, and I guess near Scottsville. Scottsville is right here. That came right on top of that small community of Scottsville. This is the county line right here. This is Marion County, and this is Franklin County, and that potential tornado is going to be crossing over. Let's check the correlation coefficient on this just to see if we have debris being lofted. We'll kind of watch this spot, and we don't see any CC at this point, but I wouldn't be shocked if we did at some point fairly soon. So again, this is a tornado warning for the far, far northwestern corner of Marion County. And again, that's about to cross over into Franklin County. So again, this is a storm that originated back in Monroe County, Mississippi, with very strong evidence of maybe a strong tornado south of the Columbus Air Force Base radar site. It occluded, it redeveloped north of the radar site, and again, that's about to cross over. It's a good thing that radar made it, man. We need it now.
I tell you what.
You can't turn it on and off again to fix a radar.
There were a lot of people saying prayers for that radar, I'll tell you that. We needed that thing.
Right. And again, I know that we are on various radio stations in West Alabama, our family of stations in Tuscaloosa, are carrying us, our town square media stations. We thank them for that because that is the best way to reach people in their vehicles for sure. And a lot of times when the power goes out, good old commercial radio, it's a marvelous way of reaching people. So thanks to our radio partners for having us on the air here on this late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Again, we have a possible tornado very close to the town of Aliceville in Pickens County. This is about 35 miles west of downtown Tuscaloosa, due west of downtown Tuscaloosa. Possible tornado is moving north-northeast right up Highway 17. Next in line is going to be Carrollton. Carrollton is the county seat. The courthouse is there. You probably heard of the face in the window. That's Carrollton right here. Pickens Academy sits right in through here. And then, of course, on that track, it's going to be crossing US 82 somewhere near Reform or maybe between Reform and Gordos. So, again, everybody in Pickens County, in those areas we've talked about, you need to be sheltered right now. And we don't advise anybody to be traveling, especially along Alabama Highway 17 or Alabama Highway 86. Or really US 82. Now's a good time to clear US 82 between Gordo and, let's just say, all the way over to the state line near Ethelsville. The last place you want to be, the worst place to be, is a car during a tornado. A tornado can take a car and loft it. It can flip it over and over and over. Even with a seatbelt, there's a good chance you might have serious injuries there. So again, we're watching this, and I will say this is not the most intense or impressive signature we have here.
Right.
It's not, but as long as the warning is in effect, we want you to stay sheltered. So we're going to keep an eye on that. In fact, let's go back to WEX 05, and I'll kind of show you how you can see the circulation right here. And it's pretty tight coming up into Sumter County, but the circulation has weakened a good bit as it approaches Aliceville. Still, do not come out of your tornado safe place. If you're watching us or listening to us in your safe place in Aliceville, even though the velocity signature is not as impressive as what we had maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes ago, we encourage everybody to stay in a safe place in Aliceville. So that is our Pickens County storm. And again, the warning for northern Sumter has been canceled because the storm is out of there. So we'll check.
They just canceled it for Pickens. They're not impressed either.
Yeah, so again, that's the good news. So all right, Pickens County. In fact, let me go back down there while we got WEX 05 up here. Pickens County, the Weather Service has canceled this warning. So if you are in Aliceville, Carrollton, Reform, Gordo, Pickensville, McShann, Ethelsville, Coalfire, you can come out of your tornado safe place. The warning has been canceled. And again, there's no doubt the circulation has just fizzled out right here. There's no tornadic circulation on radar. It's extremely broad. No tornado now. So tornado warning for Pickens County has been canceled. So we can focus pretty much exclusively on this thing coming up through far northwestern Marion County. And again, you can see this one has a much more impressive signature, and the tornado now is in the process of moving into southwestern Franklin County out of northwestern Marion County. This is up in northwest Alabama. So again, this is the city of Hamilton. You have never been at risk here if you're in Hamilton. The risk has been well to the west of there near the Mississippi state line. This thing came right across the community of Scottsville in northwestern Marion County, and now the circulation is coming up into the southern part of Franklin County. This does not, for those of you in Franklin County, include US 43. So Phil Campbell, Russellville, Littleville, you are not involved in this. This is areas well to the west of US Highway 43. Again, that is a tornadic circulation coming out of Marion County over into Franklin County. Let's go back to Max 1, and again, Charles has this one kind of pinpointed for us, and again, you can see it right here. It's crossed over, and again, that will continue move to the north. But let's show a big picture. Let's kind of do a reset, because this is where when we get a little break, and we've got a little break in that Franklin County is in the Huntsville television market. We'll come back to this in a minute, but let's see if we can answer some of your questions. So people are saying, I'm in Tuscaloosa. I'm a student at the University of Alabama. What are we going to expect here? Well, this line of storms in Pickens County will likely arrive in Tuscaloosa, I would say, by 1 to 1:30 a.m., maybe 2 a.m. And with this line, you can have the possibility of strong, damaging winds, some hail, and the chance of a tornado. The chance. Remember, tornadoes are small, counties are big, but you've got to be aware of what's going on and be sure you can hear warnings. Let's go to our Tuscaloosa Skycam if we can. Charles, I bet that thing's shaking and baking.
It's still shaking to southeast, 24 miles an hour. Now, after midnight, it reset. We still have a high wind gust of 38 now after midnight, but 47, I think, was our highest that we saw. So you can still see it kind of cooking there back and forth. Definitely rocking. You take the camera full. Nobody needs to see me. They don't want to see me out here. We want to show these cameras Yeah, there you go. But 24-mile-an-hour winds, these are pressure gradient winds. The storms haven't even arrived yet. Maybe a little bit of light rain, but as that storm comes through, expect those wind speeds to increase. The wind gusts will increase, heavy rain, lots of lightning, so much so that we actually had to take it off so you can actually see the radar below it, the radar signatures. But it's going to be a long night. We've still got a long ways to go. And I think right now, we're just continuing to just wait and watch as more storms back in Mississippi continue to have warnings on them. They will cross over the state line soon. So that's what we're following. There you go, some good lightning there.
Yeah, absolutely. And am noticing too, looks like we've got some down. Let's take WEX 05 if we can. This is going to be a tree down in Marion County, and this is not really, Charles, related to storms. This is down in Winfield.
Really?
This is away from the storms, so again, this is probably related to the inflow, the pressure gradient winds. And again, that is a tree down on County Road 60 in Winfield, up in Marion County. I wouldn't be shocked if we had some other trees that perhaps have come down. We also have reports of homes damaged and injuries at Hamilton, Mississippi. Let's make that perfectly clear. This is not Hamilton, Alabama. This is Hamilton, Mississippi.
All right, and Marion has been cleared, by the way. Marion County is clear.
The warning for Marion County is over. There are multiple homes damaged and multiple injuries in Hamilton, Mississippi. And again, we stress, this is not Hamilton, Alabama. This is Hamilton, Mississippi. That's northeast of the Columbus Air Force Base. And that's when we had that really nasty signature coming through there earlier tonight. And again, I want to thank all of our partners down in Tuscaloosa for having us on the radio tonight. Let's go back to Max 1. And so we have no tornado warnings in effect for our area. Let's go back to the question. So again, Tuscaloosa, storms should be there 1 to 1:30. Be weather aware. Be sure you can get warnings. In fact, let's run the modeling. Let's run the HERF. We can do that, Charles. We'll just kind of walk. We're going to walk our way through the modeling, and that's the best way to show this. So again, here we go. So the time is up at the top. Tuscaloosa about 1:30. And again, this is modeling. This could be wrong, but it's pretty close. This is a good mesoscale model. This is 4 a.m., one batch of storms coming into Birmingham, but notice a second line begins to form back in through here. So we'll move it on down towards 6 o'clock, and you can see that second batch coming into the Birmingham metro about 6 o'clock, Cullman, Birmingham. We've got storms on the eastern side of the state as well, and again, we keep on running this. This is 8 o'clock, and we've got storms in East Alabama. By 8 a.m., storms will be long gone for Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. And then by about 10 to 11 o'clock, the storm should be exiting the state. This is 10 o'clock, and there could be some thunder maybe in Cleburne and Randolph counties in East Alabama. Then by 11 o'clock, everything is out of the state. So in terms of, you can see the progression overnight tonight. It will slowly come through. And with any storms we have, they could produce hail, gusty winds, and there could be a few tornadoes involved, a few overnight tonight. We're going to keep a close eye on these things. So that's your approximate timing. By tomorrow afternoon, a few additional showers could redevelop on the actual surface front, but I think there's not going to be enough juice left for these things to be severe. Just a batch of rain showers tomorrow afternoon. So that's the deal. So let's go back to the radar, and this is where we stand right now. The tornado warning for Northwestern Marion has been canceled. That storm is in Franklin County, up in northwest Alabama. And in Franklin County, the danger is along and west of, not along, but west of U.S. Highway 43. The bottom line is there's no danger from this storm for Russellville or Phil Campbell or Littleville. It's all well to the west of there, and this is the polygon right here. This is US 43. This is your polygon, and that's your possible tornado right there that's passing about maybe 5 or 6 miles east of Red Bay, and that'll keep on moving up. This is Colbert County, and the Weather Service has a warning in effect for the southwestern part of Colbert County. This is the shoals right here, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, Florence, Sheffield, the Quad Cities up and through here, and most likely this tornado will be staying west of the Quad Cities, but still, if you're up here in the shoals, you need to keep a close eye on that just in case. But it will not affect US 43 in Franklin County. This is well to the west of US 43, back over here closer to Red Bay. Let's kind of go down the line, Charles. We'll take a look at the storms in Marion County, and again, we stress we do not have any active tornado warnings in effect now. That has expired, has been canceled, as that circulation has moved up into Franklin County. That's an old severe thunderstorm warning, but they probably were going to lead this up, I guess, for this incoming line of storms. The storms are not over yet. The line will just slowly creep through here this morning. But again, that's a severe thunderstorm warning for the western part of Marion County. Let's keep working our way down to the south. Again, we've got rain falling in Lamar County, but there's no sign of any severe storms, just light rain falling in parts of Marion and Lamar and Fayette. We'll keep going down toward Pickens, and again, the rain really increases through southern Lamar and Pickens County. It's pouring. I mean, it is pouring big time in Pickens County, but there's just no evidence of a tornado here. For a while, we had a tornado warning for Pickens County. The circulation basically dissipated before our eyes as it approached Aliceville. And again, instead of a tornado threat now, it's just basically a heavy rain threat. So it's a soaking rain falling in Pickens County, but there is absolutely no evidence of a tornado. There's no warning at all here, just a lot of rain falling with thunder and lightning. And again, another line of storms back off to the west around Starkville. That's going to be the last line. Once that passes, we're pretty much done for the severe weather threat. And really, let's put the watches and warnings on here, Charles, just to give folks a view of the current situation.
And they canceled that warning up in Colbert County as well.
Right. For Franklin and Colbert, that has been canceled. So we actually have no tornado warnings in effect. Now, this is a wind advisory. You see these counties flashing over here. This is a new wind advisory. This is for pressure gradient winds. This is for basically, might as well just blanket the whole state.
Pretty much all of Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, just blanket the whole state. Everybody's going to be windy overnight tonight. So this is a wind advisory for pressure gradient winds that will be in effect through the night tonight. That's the counties flashing here. And again, this is a tornado watch until 3 a.m. for Jefferson, Shelby, Blount, Marshall, Bibb, Perry, and counties to the west. There is no tornado watch for East Alabama. You probably come under one later this morning. And this is a brand new warning. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning the Weather Service has just issued for parts of Lamar and Marion counties until 1:15. So a new severe thunderstorm warning for northern Lamar. And again, the western part of Marion, that's for that line coming in from Mississippi until 1:15 for about the next hour. This is for the possibility of straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour and maybe hail up to 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So again, your new severe thunderstorm warning is here and here. Northern Lamar from Vernon north and the western part of Marion County from Hamilton back off to the west. No tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. And within this, we see no evidence of any circulations in here at this point, which is good. We're seeing evidence of straight line winds, and we've had some reports of trees blown down, not necessarily because of storms, because of gradient winds tonight. But again, this is a severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing strong winds and some hail coming into western Marion and northern Lamar. So again, that's the concern right now. And other than that, Charles, we have no warnings in effect for our territory now, which is good.
That's good news.
We hope it stays that way.
And I don't see any tornado warnings back in Mississippi either.
Right. At one point, we had those suckers lined up like trains coming down the track. But at this point,
I'm going to knock on this wood over here.
Right. And you know, the other thing that we've talked about was the idea that just maybe, because we might have a cluster of storms developing over South Alabama and the northern Gulf and the Gulf Coast, that might restrict the inflow, mitigating the overall threat for the northern two-thirds of the state. In fact, let's expand this thing out here. Let's put a regional radar on this, and let's just look down to the south. Let's see what's happening down here. Not really, no. We've got these fingers, and this is not a big MCS. You need a massive thunderstorm complex, a mesoscale convective system, MCS, to block the inflow, and these are just little fingers in here, so that's not going to be much of a factor. I don't think we're going to see that mitigating the severe weather threat up in through here. So again, we've got warnings in effect down here. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Choctaw County, but no tornado warning. That line segment's going to come into Marengo County. We should mention southwest Alabama is under a tornado watch as well. The watch includes Mobile and Baldwin counties, counties all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And again, the counties in brown here, the darker shades of tan, that's a wind advisory. So let's go back up to our end of the state. And we're going to be watching these storms carefully as they come through. If you're in Tuscaloosa, storms are about, maybe an hour or so away. And let's go to our Skycam. Let's take that full screen. This is our Tuscaloosa Skycam. Winds have calmed down a little bit, Charles. Looks like that's good.
Little.
Yeah.
Give it a minute.
Not a whole lot. And again, before midnight, we actually had a peak wind of 47.
Yeah, 47 miles an hour.
And this is not related to storms. This is pressure gradient wind that is in association with a tight pressure gradient. And again, that's that'll knock down a tree real quick. Now, the thing is, the anemometer is mounted alongside the camera. When you see weather data like this, and again, now it's ramped back up to 20. That's a 1 minute average. So now we have a southeast wind averaging 20. And this is up on top of the courthouse, a multi-level building up there. The winds won't be quite as extreme down at the ground level, but still, it's pretty windy, and we've seen evidence of a few trees going down in parts of northwest Alabama because of these pressure gradient winds. But again, just kind of looking at the chats coming in from the Weather Service, and I tend to agree with what I'm seeing a lot of the conversation here. Let's go back to Max 1 behind me. And we're kind of transitioning from a cellular type situation to a linear type situation where you can see we have these long line segments here. And typically within a linear environment like that, the technical name is a QLCS. When I was a kid, we called them squall lines.
Squall line.
You know, some pinhead decided that they're quasi-linear convective systems now to impress somebody at a weather conference. I know how these weather conferences work. I've been to a whole bunch of them, and I'm probably guilty as well. I've probably thrown in some terms like that, but whatever. Within the line structure, the tornadoes are harder to identify, and they tend to be maybe not as long-lasting. They're still dangerous, don't get me wrong. They're dangerous, but they typically don't last as long. You can't see them as well on radar, and they can be a real problem when you're trying to warn people about them. So I would imagine overnight tonight we're going to see a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings that will have within the text of the warning, this storm is also capable of producing a quick-hitting tornado that might develop without warning, and that's going to be the case. So, but again, typically within a QLCS environment like this, you're going to have the tornadoes that are not especially long-lasting. And getting a strong tornado, it's possible. There's no doubt it's possible, but it's not especially likely in an environment like this. They tend to be the smaller ones, still producing damage, and they're a real threat to life. And we're going to take them seriously, but they're just different. You have to deal with these things differently. Seeing some more reports of trees down. This is coming from Lauderdale County EMA up in the northwestern part of the state on Huntsville Road and Florence Boulevard. And I would imagine that we're going to see some trees down. Now, thankfully, it's been somewhat dry, not as wet as it was back in February. The month of March was relatively dry for much of the state, had a good chance to dry out. The ground is not as saturated as it could be. Let's see if we can take Brian Peters' stream. I want to hear what Brian has to say. Brian is stopped at a stop sign. He's not running it. Brian, are you on the line with us by any chance?
We are. Can you hear us?
Yeah, loud and clear, man. What's going on? Where are you? What's happening? What are your thoughts on this whole night?
We're sitting here discussing it as we speak.
Yes, we were just admiring the sounding from the Birmingham National Weather Service office and looking at the cape values and discussing what we thought were good capes for this time of year. But it does look like everything is becoming much more, as you were saying, QLCS or squall line type structure, and that's good. I mean, it makes the forecast look not quite so good, but certainly I'm not looking for more destruction. And the pressure gradient wind is pretty good out here. It's been rocking the chaser a little bit, but we're kind of angled into the wind, and it was very nice. We pulled up here, as you said, by a stop sign, and we had a nice person here. And I think we're in Walker County, but we're very close to the Walker-Marion line.
We're in between Carbon Hill and Jasper, near Townley.
Yeah, near Townley. And they stopped to make sure we were okay. So I thought that was very nice. And then we gave them a weather briefing. So
that's good. I wanted to mention real quickly, let's go back to Max 1. We got a new tornado warning in effect. This is in effect for parts.
It's Choctaw County.
Oh, this is the one down to the south. I got you. So this is a tornado warning in effect for the eastern part of Choctaw County. This is down in southwest Alabama. This is Marengo County, Linden here. You got Sweetwater right here. That's Alabama Highway 10. Nanophilia is down here. This is across the Tom Bigby on the Sumter County side. So if you are in eastern Choctaw County, basically along Highway 17, it points back over to the Tom Bigby. You need to be in a safe place. Let's go up north. Wanted to show the new tornado warning in effect also for parts of Colbert. And let's see, this is going to be,
Colbert and Franklin.
Yeah,
right?
Colbert and Franklin. It's the same storm that was warned earlier. And again, this is the circulation. There looks like a B-weir right there. This is going to be crossing, this is the Franklin-Colbert County line. This is, there's your circulation right there. This is Franklin and this is Colbert. That's Alabama Highway 247. And again, this is well to the west of US 43. We stress this does not include Russellville or Littleton. This is way west of there. Again, US 43 is way over here. And again, this is the shoals right here. Florence, the shoals, Sheffield, Tuscumbia. This thing is going to be passing well to the west of the shoals, the Quad Cities. So if you're up in northwest Alabama, keep an eye on this. But this new tornado warning polygon is for far northwestern Franklin and southwestern Colbert counties over here. And that's moving more north. So again, that is a new tornado warning in effect for the northwestern part of the state. And again, we've also got, in fact, let's take WEX 05 real quick on this one. Again, this is the shoals right here, and you can see the tornado signature right here. And again, that's going to be crossing US Highway 72 up in here. Waterloo is here. That's up in the northwestern part of Lauderdale County. The town of Cherokee is right here. But more than likely, this stays well to the west of US 43, well to the west of Russellville, Littleville, Florence, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals. So that's what's happening up in the northwestern part of the state. Let's go down. Tell you what I want to do here. While we got WEX 05 up, I'm going to change the radar back over to Mobile. And yeah, this is a tough place. Let me just say, down here in Choctaw County, this is going to be tough to see this out of all these radar sites. We'll take a look at Birmingham. And yeah, you can probably see a little better on the Birmingham radar. The circulation is right here. That's Alabama Highway 17 right here. This is Toxie. You ever been to Toxie, Charles?
I have, back in the Meridian
South
days. Yeah.
Choctaw Academy is there. I've been there. Butler is right here. And more than likely, this is going to stay between Highway 17 and the river. This is the Tom Bigby River right here. Again, this is Pennington, and that thing is going to be kind of hugging the area along and just west of the Tom Bigby, and it might cross over into Marengo. So if you're watching us in places like Jefferson or Demopolis, just keep an eye on this. So we've got a possible tornado down here in the southeastern part of Choctaw County, moving north-northeast about like that. And again, that'll be crossing Highway 10 that runs from Butler back over to Sweetwater, Marengo County here in just a little bit. So keep an eye on that, as that is a tornado warning in effect for southwest Alabama. So let's go back up to the northwestern part of the state. What I'm going to do is change this back over toward Columbus, and you can see that a whole lot better right there. This is a tornadic circulation that is in the far northwestern corner of Franklin County, moving up into the southwestern corner of Colbert County. And again, this is going to pass well to the west of Florence, the Shoals, Tuscumbia. It will not affect you, but if you're up here in places like Cherokee or Waterloo, up in the far northwestern corner of the state, keep a close eye on that. Let's go back to Max 1. Here's the big picture, and let's talk about Tuscaloosa. We've got light rain falling here, but what's happening in Pickens County, so far so good. No evidence of any tornadic circulation, none. We have no warnings, not even a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. That batch of storms will likely be in the city of Tuscaloosa, I'd say by 1:15 to 1:30. And it's very windy in Tuscaloosa, very windy, but the winds are pressure gradient winds, not related to storms. Let's take that Skycam. Charles, what you got on that thing?
Well, still, the 1 minute average is about 22 miles an hour. We had a gust earlier before midnight at about 47. But now the wind speed's closer to, or the gust that we have, highest wind speed since we changed over to the new day is 38 miles an hour. So definitely some very gusty winds here, lighter rain starting to show, and we're starting to see that. But the wind here, remember, this is on top of a building several floors up, so it's not going to be as bad down at the surface, but still very windy conditions, some light rain beginning to fall, the heavy rain on its way, probably some gustier winds as well. But we have a wind advisory in place through pretty much most of the state through the night. That means 20 to 30 mile an hour winds with 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts is what we're anticipating tonight. And those will be pressure gradient. Those won't necessarily be related to thunderstorms as we go through the rest of the night and early tomorrow morning. So breezy conditions setting up out ahead of the line as that low that's back to our west gets a little bit closer. That's where we're seeing the pressure gradient starting to increase a little bit. It's going to be breezy all night, and we'll see those winds increasing. And of course, we've got the storms to deal with through the rest of the night as well. So can't say it enough. We'll say it over and over again tonight. Make sure you have a way of getting warnings tonight. Make sure you have a way of going, if you want to go to sleep, something to wake you up if a warning is issued in your area for you, for your family. Make sure you know where to go. Of course, the lowest level of your home, as many walls between you and the exterior as possible. Make sure you have your safety kit, a helmet, always a good idea. Go ahead and put that in that safe place now. And then you can go ahead, you can go to bed, you can rest tonight. You've got something to wake you up. You can get to your safe place with your safety kit and your helmet, and you'll be all right. James and I will let you know when it's all clear for your area, and we'll be here. We're going to be here all night. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here until this is over with, until it's gone, and until the threat is over with. We're going to be here all night. It might be 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, but we're still going to be here. So you guys just keep up with us tonight. You can do that through social media, online. You can do that, of course, on the air. We'll be here with you throughout the event.
We'll be here all night. Let's take the WEXO 5 full screen if we can. Wanted to show what the sky is looking like tonight. This is some of the lightning illuminating the sky over Tuscaloosa. Fire
Nice.
in the sky. Wow. And again, everybody getting a free light show. Let's go back to Max 1 behind me. And again,
tell me where you want to go with it.
Yeah, let's just hold it right there for just a minute. We've got some major damage in Monroe County, Mississippi. I'll just put it like that. Again, we are trained in atmospheric science. We're not trained as journalists. I know nothing about journalism. I've been working with them for 41 years, so we have to be kind of careful with the things we report. But I will say that they are now calling for help in Monroe County, Mississippi. They're overwhelmed with people that are there's entrapment. We have many injuries, and it's pretty tough. And again, this is near the town of Hamilton, Mississippi. Let me make this perfectly clear. This is not Hamilton, Alabama. This is Hamilton, Mississippi. Remember, Charles, that really, really incredible signature we saw that was south of the Columbus Air Force Base radar. This is pretty tough stuff here. So again, this is reports of major damage and injuries in Hamilton, Mississippi. That is in Monroe County, Mississippi, in the northeastern part of the state. And often it's very sketchy when reports first come out, and we will know more later. But again, that's pretty tough stuff right there. All right, so here we are at 12:33. This is the current situation. Tuscaloosa. Now, if you're in Birmingham, it's going to be 3, 4 o'clock in the morning before it gets here. You got plenty of time. Anniston, Gadsden, 6 o'clock or so. All right, so Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, you're several hours away. Tuscaloosa, you're about an hour away. And the good news, west of Tuscaloosa, to the west, there is no severe weather warnings for Pickens County, Alabama. This is just a lot of rain here. We've got rain falling, heavy rain, thunder, lightning. No doubt about that. You can see lightning illuminating the sky, and that is approaching Tuscaloosa, and the campus of the University of Alabama should be there about 1:30, about an hour or so from now. There's not a lot of eastward motion here. It's going to take a while to move east. It's going to take about an hour to move in this direction, 30 or 40 miles. But when it gets there, unless something changes, so far so good. Again, for a while we did have a tornado warning for Pickens County, but that warning was canceled as the circulation radically weakened as it approached Aliceville. And again, we'll just have to wait and see. You know, we're kind of working a linear type event, but this could transition again. Yeah, let's look at this storm down here. This is a tornadic storm that is in Choctaw County. This is in southwest Alabama. And again, get your bearings straight. This is Marengo County, Sweetwater, Nanophilia, Half Acre. This is down here below Linden. This is Choctaw County. This is the Tombigbee River that flows down to Mobile Bay. That's Alabama Highway 10. That goes from Sweetwater back over to Butler. And again, there's evidence of a tornadic circulation near the Tombigbee, and that's going to be riding the Tombigbee. And you know, it's always interesting to me, Charles, if you got a tornado over the river, it becomes a water spout for a few minutes. And a water spout is simply a tornado over a body of water. And let's put on the velocity display with this, and it's going to be probably a little noisy, but you can see it right here. This is a long way away from radars. The radar beam, I bet you, is 5,000–6,000 feet off the ground at this point. But still, there's clearly a mesocyclone here. And again, that is moving to the north-northeast. So a tornado warning in effect. This is for Choctaw County, in effect until 1:15, as we have a possible tornado just to the east, southeast of Butler, moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. And again, I'm not seeing any damage reports, but at this late hour, it is so hard to get damage reports. And we're thankful for our sky watchers. We've trained a lot of sky watchers over the years. We trained a bunch of them in Pelham last month, and we gathered together on a Slack channel. It's a private channel just for those that have been trained, and we get reports from them, and we know they're valid reports. They've been trained, and so far it's fairly quiet, which is good. But if we hear something, we'll certainly pass it on. But like we've talked about, this is so stinking hard because in the middle of the night, we can't show you live video coming from we can show you live video coming from the cameras, but you can't see anything. We got Brian Peters and Megan Thomas out in the field. We have all these cameras, but you just see a big black bunch of nothing unless lightning illuminates the features of these storms. And occasionally you can see a feature when lightning illuminates a storm or maybe some power flashes, but it's awfully hard. And we've learned from social science studies, when you see this, you see paint spilled all over the board. And it doesn't mean anything. So I'm just encouraging you, even though this is not riveting television, to just consider what we're saying. And if we call out your town and if you fall in a tornado warning polygon this morning, take it seriously and go to a safe place. So again, this is the tornadic circulation that's about to cross Highway 10 east of Butler. And again, this is the old bridge right here. Man, that thing used to be crazy. You ever cross that bridge, Charles, the one by the paper mill down there? It's like, it's a one-way bridge, and it's a railroad bridge. Now, it's not there anymore. They've replaced it. This goes back in the 80s. I'm telling you, the railroad tracks are on it, and it's just one way. I mean, it's just
so
like,
if you're halfway across and a train's coming, you back it up.
You can have a car coming the other way or a train coming out. In theory, they had lights and everything to prevent that from happening, but that was that bridge right here. That was creepy stuff. But they've replaced it. I'm glad to say they have replaced that bridge. But I think the thing's still there if you want to go down and take a look at it sometime. But that'll be coming up in that vicinity. The old James River Mill is what that thing was. I forget what it is now. But again, that'll be crossing the Tombigbee into Marengo County. And again, this is Linden right here. That's Highway 28 coming over to Thomaston. Highway 28 coming up toward Jefferson. That's Highway 43 coming up toward Demopolis. And we'll keep a close eye on that as that moves steadily to the northeast at a pretty good clip. All these storms are moving 55, 60 miles an hour. And I see John DeBlock at the Weather Service in Birmingham. He's looking at, of course, we're all watching these velocity displays so carefully this morning. And that you've got to keep your eye on the ball. I mean, in a situation like this, with all this stuff, you've got to really watch these things very carefully. The storms in Pickens County bear watching. I understand right now we have no warnings in effect here, but again, you can see there might be some evidence that there's some type of circulation trying to spin up near the Sipsey River. And man, I would not want to be on the Sipsey River at 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. There's woolly boogers in that thing, man. There's swamp monsters in the Sipsey down there. It's a beautiful place, but I wouldn't want to be there in the middle of the night. But again, evidence of some circulation near the Sipsey. This is the border. The Sipsey River serves as the border between Pickens County and Greene County. And again, that's kind of moving up towards the northeast. This is Tuscaloosa County right here. This is U.S. Highway 82. and we'll watch that. There are no warnings in effect, no warnings for Pickens or Tuscaloosa counties, but again, and this is not really your classic line here. It's not totally linear. This is kind of a hybrid between cellular and linear here. Heavy rain is in the western part of Tuscaloosa County around Buell, out here towards Sipsey Valley High School, down toward Ralph, which is down here in the southwestern corner of Tuscaloosa County. And again, the heavier thunderstorms are now, again, near the Sipsey River, not too far from Benevola, moving over into western Tuscaloosa County. No warnings here. But again, if you're in the city of Tuscaloosa, the worst of the weather should arrive probably around 1:15, 1:30, something like that. In Birmingham, it's going to be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe later. Anniston, Gadsden toward daybreak. So it's going to be a long morning, so just ride with us here. So that's our storm that is currently in Pickens County. I'm watching the velocity, and it's kind of noisy here. Let's put the WEXO 5 back up in here. There's just not much going on here. This is Greene County, and this is Pickens. This is the area of concern right up in through here. And we'll just kind of, it's very broad rotation. This is not a tornado signature. Gordo is here. This is US 82, Tuscaloosa and Northport sitting right here. Let's go back to Max 1. And at this point, we don't have any tornado warnings in effect for counties in our television market. We've got them close by, though. We've got the tornado warning down here in southwest Alabama's Choctaw County. This is a possible tornado that's east of Butler, moving northeast. And again, Demopolis sits right here. And I'm just saying that if by chance that thing holds together, it could impact Demopolis. It'll first off cross Highway 28 here between Linden and the Rooster Bridge, and then ultimately that would come up toward the city of Demopolis. So if you're in North Marengo County or West Marengo County, just keep an eye on this thing. There are no warnings in effect for Marengo at this point. We'll keep an eye on that. That's not the greatest tornado signature, but there's still clearly evidence of rotation there. And again, that's going to be moving up toward city of Demopolis. Demopolis is the largest city in Marengo County. Linden's the county seat down here. The courthouse is in Linden, but Demopolis is the largest city in the county. That's US Highway 43. This is Dixon's Mill right here. This is Sweetwater right here. Thomaston sits right down through here. But the main concern for Marengo, it's going to be the northwestern part of the county. Again, this is US 80 right here. So just if you're in Demopolis, just keep an eye on this. I know it's 12:41, late at night, early in the morning, whatever this is, but just keep a close eye on that. And again, the Weather Service in Birmingham is also watching that very carefully. I would not be shocked if they issue a tornado warning for parts of Marengo pretty soon. Looks like Storm Prediction Center is going to have a new tornado watch or replace the current watch fairly soon. I think that makes good sense to include a larger part of the state of Alabama. Let's check that storm up in passing west of the Shoals, Charles. We have a lot of people that watch up there. You know, the one thing that's changed, in fact, it's a little bitty. I mean, it's a tiny tornado warning.
Very small tornado warning.
This is for the far southwestern part of Colbert. And
I think they're just going to let it ride and expire. I think it's expires in 5 minutes.
They just canceled it as we speak. It just canceled. Watch that thing go away. 3, 2, 1. Oh, well.
I was hoping it would work for you.
It never works. But again, that's off the board now. So again, if you're in Colbert County, the tornado warning has been canceled. So the only tornado warning in the state is the one that's down in Choctaw County. Again, this is Tuscaloosa, and again, you're going to have heavy rain coming into Tuscaloosa here around 1:30 or so. It's raining heavily in the western part of the county, and we're going to watch this stuff here in Pickens. It's no doubt we've got to keep our eye. You need like 18 eyeballs with this. You know, we need like to be looking at 18 different places at one time, but that's the reason we have a lot of people working together on a night like this. We have our colleagues at the National Weather Service. We have different folks here, of course. We got Charles and Megan out in the field. We're watching them for you. Everybody can't see everything at once, but again, we'll keep an eye on this. But for now, there are no warnings around Tuscaloosa. This is the one tornado warning we have, and it's down here in the southwestern part of the state, the possibility of a tornadic storm that is on the Tombigbee River, that is northeast of Butler. And
how it will show. I'm showing a small lowered coefficient here just east of Butler.
Wow.
Headed towards Pennington. It's a little noisy on this one here, but it's definitely showing up.
Yeah, and again, remember, the radar beam, it's got to be 5,000 feet at least off the ground.
It's closer to 10 over here.
It's got to be, because, you know, the Earth curves, the radar beam goes in a straight line, so as you get at a great distance from the radar, the beam is higher and higher and higher, and also broader. And so it makes it a little tougher down and through here. But again, there's clearly something going on. and that's about to cross over into the southwestern part of Marengo County. The town of Myrtlewood sits right here. This is Highway 10 down here. The danger is over now for Highway 10 and points south. The danger is north of Alabama 10, coming up into far western Marengo. But again, for now, the Weather Service is just keeping, and again, this is kind of a jurisdiction thing. Choctaw is served by the Weather Service in Mobile. Marengo is served by the Weather Service in Birmingham. So we'll see what Birmingham does with this in just a minute. But again, I'm just saying, if you're in Jefferson, Myrtlewood, Demopolis, keep a close eye on this thing, because it might require a warning fairly soon. The only warning we have, it's a severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County until 1:15. Let's look at that one. Again, this is not a tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County up here in northwest Alabama. And this is for this line segment here. And that's could be some hail falling in this area north of Hamilton. Again, maybe not extremely large hail, but this could produce hail and strong gusty winds. That's kind of a bowing line segment right here. Sometimes on the apex of the bow, you tend to get strong straight line winds. So again, that is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Marion County up in northwest Alabama for the possibility of strong straight line winds until 1:15 a.m. And let me also note a new tornado watch is coming here in about 5 minutes. So in a few minutes, we'll see a new watch pop up on the board, and I think this is going to be for a pretty good chunk of the state here. Scanning through, looking for reports. Not seeing.
I don't see a lot.
But remember, we are in the middle of the night. But yeah, this new tornado watch is going to include north and east Alabama. That's the situation here. And I'm also seeing some reports of power outages as far east as Alexander City. Statewide, it's windy. Keep in mind there's a wind advisory for pretty much the whole state. Pressure gradient winds, not related to storms. You can see the wind advisory over here. It covers all of Alabama, basically. We're going to see strong winds of 20, 30, 35 miles an hour down at the surface and higher gusts. We had a wind gust in Tuscaloosa at 47 miles per hour before midnight up on top of the courthouse. So it's very windy away from storms because of the tight pressure gradient across the state. And again, in a matter of minutes, you're going to see the watch expanded. If you're in Anniston and Gadsden and Fort Payne and Scottsboro and Heflin and Cedar Bluff, you're about to go under a tornado watch. I think we can safely say that. That'll be issued fairly soon. This coming from our friends out at the Storm Prediction Center. And they do a great job. I've gotten to appreciate those guys. I remember back when it was CELS. Charles, this is before you were born, man. It was called CELS, the Severe Local Storm Unit. It was in Kansas City, Missouri, and that's what it was called back in the 70s, and then it transitioned to the Storm Prediction Center back in the 80s, and they're just brilliant forecasters that work there. The men and women that work there are just tremendous. John Hart, Rich Thompson, Brian Smith. I'm going to start calling names, but they're good. And the local guys are great. Kevin Laws and his team at the Weather Service in Birmingham. All right, so that's the current watch. This is until 3 a.m. for Birmingham, the Birmingham Metro, Jefferson, Shelby, Blount counties, and counties off to the west. You'll see a new watch coming soon. That's our severe thunderstorm warning, and again, the tornado warning down here in the far northeastern part of Choctaw County. And the Weather Service in Birmingham will have to make that decision here in a minute if they're going to put Marengo in this, and they might. Again, it's a really tough look on the radar, but it's clearly spinning like a top. That thunderstorm that's around Pennington, that's about to cross the Tom Bigby coming up toward Myrtlewood in West Alabama. In fact, Weather Service in Mobile is just updating that. They're going to continue the warning for Choctaw until 1:15.
That little sliver of the county there.
Yeah, again, we're running out of Choctaw County is what's happening here. This is Marengo and this is Choctaw, so it's a very tiny part of Choctaw County. But that warning is technically in effect until 1:15. Of course, it'll be out of Choctaw County by then. And again, you've got Myrtlewood right here. This is in Marengo County. Myrtlewood, Jefferson, Demopolis. Those are the next three communities in the path of this. Just be ready to go to a safe place. And remember, the one thing I want to stress too, in your safe place, we want everybody wearing a helmet. And that's everybody. I don't care if you're 99 years old. Our position is this: every human life is precious, whether you're 6 or you're 96. And that protective headgear is very important if you take a direct hit. Yeah, you might look goofy wearing the thing. I know I look goofy. In fact, I should wear one of those things. You talk about goofy. You ought to see me in a bicycle helmet, but it doesn't matter. what you're doing is protecting your head from the possibility of blunt force trauma, which is extremely important. Most people lose their life in tornadoes because of that. And over and over and over, we see first responders and emergency personnel tell us if they would have had a helmet on, they'd be alive today. So please, in your safe place, have a helmet for everybody. And again, we like the portable air horns. Go to the Dollar General. Charge, ever go to the Dollar General? I hang out in Dollar Generals.
Yeah,
Those
get
are
some
my
good
people.
stuff there.
For under, I think it's, $8, you get a portable air horn. Stick that thing in your pocket. If you're injured and if you can't force air through a whistle, you can squeeze the air horn. First responders can hear that. And the other thing, it's hard-sole shoes, I'm from South Alabama. When I go home, I take my shoes off. And if you have to walk over a tornado debris field, barefooted or with socks or tennis shoes, that's just not good. So hard-sole shoes. All right. The Weather Service in Birmingham's in the process of coordinating a new watch with the Storm Prediction Center. That's one thing that's happening right now. But here's the big picture. Tuscaloosa, look at the lightning output of this thing. Wow. I bet you the camera looks pretty good. Let's take that Tuscaloosa camera looking west. How about that DCH camera? Get that high def going. That's the one on top of the courthouse. We'll take a different look from the top of DCH Regional Medical Center. And if we can, see, I'll probably be the guy that messes. There we go. Down below you can see University Boulevard on the right, Paul Bryant Drive on the left. Bryant-Denny Stadium is off in the distance there. They played the spring football games today in Tuscaloosa and Auburn. All right, here's a new tornado warning for Sumter and Marengo. Here we go. Let's go back to Max 1. Let's show people who's in and who's out. We have a tornado warning in effect for Sumter and Marengo counties. This is for the tornado that is coming out of Choctaw, and this is your polygon right here. And let me just say, this is a very, very, very small part of Sumter County. This little segment here, this little segment here. If you're in York and Livingston, I-5920, you're not close to this. This does include Demopolis, includes Jefferson, includes Myrtlewood. So Myrtlewood, Jefferson, Demopolis. You need to be in a safe place, all right? This includes, again, the Linden. You might have a Linden mailing address and you're in this. Downtown Linden, where the courthouse is located, you're not in the polygon, but if you go up 43 or out 28, you're in this. So again, Linden, Providence, you're just on the edge of this. But again, Myrtlewood, Jefferson, Demopolis. If you're close to any of these places, now's the time to go to a safe place. That would be a small room on the lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. And this has been a persistent rotation. And this could very well be producing a tornado at this point. So this is and again, we'll keep an eye on this. Of course, if this continues moving to the north-northeast, this could wind up in perhaps parts of Hale County or Greene County. So if you're in Utah or Greensboro or Galion or Forkland or New Bern, just kind of keep an eye on this. So again, that's the current situation right there. We're almost within a little better range of Birmingham. We're getting range folding. In fact, let's take WEX 05 real quick. This is noisy. You can't see a lot. That's your circulation. All the purple, that's range folding. But right here, that's your circulation. And again, the town of Myrtlewood is right here, and then Jefferson is right here, and Demopolis is right here. This is Linden. This is US 43. So everybody in this polygon right here, you should be in a safe place. And let's go back to Max 1, and let me just say that we don't want anybody driving. Nobody should be driving out here because this storm is clearly a storm that could do some pretty bad damage to a car. And nobody should be in a manufactured home, and this is a real problem. We know that there probably needs to be some type of intermediate message for you if you live in a manufactured home between a watch and a warning to give you some more time. And we're in the process of working on that. I'm on the steering committee of Vortex Southeast, which is a national group that's studying tornadoes in the southeast United States. Not only the physical science, but the social science. And we clearly understand that we've got some work to do there. But again, nobody should be driving along Highway 69 out of Linden, Highway 28 out of Linden. This is Highway 69 right here coming down toward Myrtlewood. Highway 28 runs from Linden back up toward US 80 at the Rooster Bridge, Jefferson along Highway 28, Demopolis, and of course ultimately the big east-west highway is US Highway 80 up here. And in terms of the polygon, the edge of the polygon is right at the Rooster Bridge over the Tom Bigby, and then the other edge is over here at the Marengo-Hale County line around Gallion. So nobody should be driving along US Highway 80, basically between Fawnsdale, which is right here, and the Tom Bigby, which is right here. We want everybody clear. Nobody should be along US 43 north of Linden. Nobody should be along Alabama Highway 28 west of Linden, Highway 69 west of Linden until this storm passes. And the good thing we can tell you is the fact that these storms are screaming along. The storm motion on this warning is 45 miles per hour. And let me just say, too, the Weather Service has canceled that severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County. So if you're in Marion County, the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled. The only warning we have close to us, it's this one. This is a tornado warning in effect for a couple of very small parts of Sumter County, little bitty parts of Sumter County, mostly western and northern Marengo, including Demopolis. In fact, let's go to the Skycam network. Let's start with Tuscaloosa. We'll keep that, here's the Demopolis shot. Let me just say the data is...
I'm trying to get my bearings. It's so dark. We should see the feed plant that's down there on the river.
The data is
there
old.
You go. Yeah.
It is not 45 degrees. We'll take the data point off. But you're looking right down the Tom Bigby. And right around the... Yeah, that's a great shot right there. Right around the bend is the Demopolis Lock and Dam. And what we're going to be doing is watching this camera for signs of power flashes. And, you know, one of the... We had a situation, a few weeks ago, Charles, with the Clanton Skycam.
And we caught the tornado on the camera.
And we can. You can see them, but it's awfully hard. And then you have to distinguish the difference between lightning and power flashes. But this is at the Demopolis Civic Center. The Demopolis Civic Center sits right on the Tom Bigby. I have been in that building so many times I can't count. It's a beautiful facility, and the view is gorgeous, and we're looking south from Demopolis right down toward Webb's Bend, and right around the bend it's the Demopolis Lock and Dam. And if you are in the city of Demopolis, we hope you're watching us. You should be sheltered right now. We hope you're watching us on your cell phone, in your safe place, wearing a helmet. If you're listening to us, and the reason I talk to people in their cars, many of our radio partners carry our audio. Our Tuscaloosa group's been doing that, the Town Square media stations. We thank them so much for that. But a lot of people listen on their cell phone. They punch up our coverage and they listen. So if you're listening to us, we call out these roads where, and we got Tuscaloosa County under a tornado warning. Let's go. All right, here's a new tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County. And again, we're going to come back to Demopolis in just a second. So this is a new tornado warning in effect for Tuscaloosa County. And the warning is in effect until 2 a.m. We've got a possible tornado 7 miles southeast of Gordo moving northeast at 45. Let's take the radar data off and let me just show the polygon only. All right? You've heard me say this over and over. Respect the polygon. This is the polygon. It does not include Tuscaloosa. It does not include the University of Alabama. It includes the northern and western fringe of the city of Northport. The tornado warning polygon, its southernmost point is near Tuscaloosa County High School, just to give you a point of reference, and Westwood Elementary School at Coker. Westwood Elementary School at Coker, back up to County High, then right across Lake Tuscaloosa. Then it extends up toward Wyndham Springs in the northeastern part of the county. This includes US 82 west of Coker, out toward the Pickens County line. And again, these are people in Tuscaloosa County that need to take action right now. From the western part of Tuscaloosa, or Northport and Coker west, out US 82 toward Buell, Elrod, you need to be in a safe place. Romulus, if you're near Sipsey Valley High School, you need to be in a safe place. Up Highway 171 toward Brownville and Moores Bridge, you need to be in a safe place. Up US 43 toward Samantha, Northside High School. Up Highway 69 toward Wyndham Springs. This is all north and west of Tuscaloosa. And again, we stress this tornado warning polygon does not include the University of Alabama. It does not include the city of Tuscaloosa. This includes western and northern Tuscaloosa County, the far western and northern fringe of the city of Northport. And again, the southern extent of this warning It's around Westside Elementary School, or Westwood Elementary School, and Tuscaloosa County High School. So that's your point of reference, and I just wanted to make it perfectly clear. If you're in the polygon here, western and northern Tuscaloosa County, you need to go through your tornado precautions right now. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. No cars, no traveling on these roads, no mobile homes, no manufactured homes. You need to go to a shelter. Hopefully you've identified those shelters. So let's look at the radar product here. And this is the reflectivity. Let's look at WEX 05. And there's your circulation right there. This is sitting on the Pickens-Tuscaloosa County line. This is almost where Pickens, Greene, and Tuscaloosa counties all come together. And that circulation is going to be crossing US 82 west of Coker. Again, US 82 runs right in through here. This is Coker. You got Buell, Elrod, and Gordo out here. It's going to be pretty close to Buell, and then crossing over 82, coming up toward Alabama Highway 171 and US 43 north of the city of Northport. So again, that's your tornadic circulation right here. In fact, let me animate this thing, and you can see how it's kind of gotten its act together over the past few volume scans. And you see, you really don't see a lot going on in through here, but you kind of watch and you see how the circulation is increasing. Not much going on down here in Greene County, but in the last 3 or 4 volume scans, the rotation becomes more extreme. And I think that's a great call, having this as a tornado warning now. So there's a tornado warning in effect for western and northern Tuscaloosa County. Let's go back to Max 1, same presentation, same storm. Again, this is your tornadic circulation right here. It's awfully close to US 82. A tornadic circulation very close to Buell, Elrod. This is west of Coker, and that's going to be crossing over Highway 171, not too far from Brownville.
The lightning is super intense on the Skycam.
Can we double box?
Yeah.
Let's do a double box. We'll keep the Skycam going in one shot, and we'll have me going in the other shot here with the radar behind me. So again, this is a tornado, and let me just stress while we're doing this, this does not include the city of Tuscaloosa. This does not include the campus of the University of Alabama, all right? So again, you've got in the other box, this is a live look at the Skycam from the top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse looking back into this. And Charles, you've not seen any evidence of a lowering there, I guess.
Too difficult to see. I think it's just a little bit too far away at this point. I'm curious about the left-hand side of the screen. If we could get just a little bit more lightning over here. I've been trying to watch it, but yeah, this would be an area where we could see it right there. I've kind of got it centered up where I'm thinking we might see something there if we get a good flash of lightning.
All right, but again, this is the circulation. So let me just say this too. If you have a friend that lives in Buell or Elrod or up Highway 171 up toward Brownville or up US 43 toward Northside High School, Samantha, call them. If they get mad at you, just tell them to get mad at me. I'm the guy that said to call. And tell them they need to get out of bed and go to their safe place. There's so many people that don't have weather radios and they have no idea this is happening. So if you're awake and watching this, and if you know somebody that lives in this polygon in North Tuscaloosa County, North and West Tuscaloosa County, call them and let them know to get into a safe place. And again, remember, this does not include the University of Alabama. It does not include the city of Tuscaloosa. It does not. You're safe. You don't need to do anything. This is exclusively for those folks that are west and north of Northport. And again, it kind of affects the far northern and western part of the city of Northport. But that's your tornadic circulation, and again, that's moving like this. And it's clearly ramping up. With every volume scan, the rotation is more impressive. We don't have a negative correlation coefficient at this point. We don't see debris being lofted, or actually we might have a little lowering back in through here. We'll keep an eye on that. But again, this is coming up through the western and northern part of Tuscaloosa County, and you're watching in the other box. That's our Skycam from the courthouse. That's the closest camera we have to this, looking back into that. We don't expect to see a wall cloud or tornado. We might,